For the campaign against the Soviet Union starting in 1941, called Operation Barbarossa, the Germans allotted about 150 divisions containing a total of about 3.5 million men. This included 19 panzer and 15 motorized divisions, and in total, the Barbarossa force had about 3,400 tanks, 8,000 artillery pieces, and 2,800 aircraft. It was, in effect, the largest and most powerful invasion force in human history. The German strength was further increased by more than 30 divisions of Finnish and Romanian troops. Adolf Hitler and the German military leadership believed that within 3 to 6 months of their invasion, the Soviet regime would collapse from lack of domestic support. This was a gross miscalculation. A lesson from history would be appropriate right now. Napoleon actually occupied Moscow, yet the Russian army was not defeated. Even so, the Germans never occupied Moscow. Even though the Soviet Union had twice or perhaps up to 3 times the number of both tanks and aircraft as the Germans had, their aircraft were mostly obsolete. However, Soviet tanks were about equal to those of the Germans. A greater hindrance to Nazi Germany's chances of victory was that the German intelligence service underestimated the troop reserves that Stalin could bring up from the depths of the U.S.S.R. The Germans correctly estimated that there were about 150 divisions in the western parts of the U.S.S.R. and believed that 50 more might be produced or were hidden, but the Soviets actually brought up more than 210 fresh divisions by the middle of August, making a total of 360. It's true that Soviet rifle divisions were much larger in 1941 than by the end of the war. In early 1941, a typical Soviet rifle division had about 12,000 men, and a typical German infantry division had roughly 15,000 men. However, by 1944, Soviet rifle divisions had between 6,000 to 7,000 soldiers each, and a veteran German infantry division had about 9,000 men. These numbers don't include support troops. German and Soviet army doctrines made divisional side-by-side comparisons difficult. On the whole, the Wehrmacht placed their assets within the division, giving them a high degree of self-sufficiency and requiring relatively little in the way of higher echelon support assets. The Red Army had more of its combat assets in independent units, with logistics maintained at higher levels. The consequence was that, though the Germans succeeded in shattering the original Soviet armies by superior maneuvering and technique, they then found their path blocked by fresh ones. The effects of these miscalculations were increased because much of August was wasted, while Hitler and his advisors had long arguments as to what course they should follow after their initial victories. It was a pleasure to make this video. If you like this video, then check out 2 of my other videos, on D-Day, What Would Sun Tzu Do, and Should the Continentals Have Retreated from Charlestown in 1780? Thank you for watching.